All right, folks, let's dive into the shadows and uncover the origins of one of the most enduring creatures of the night. Vampires. Vampires have fascinated humanity for centuries, but where do these bloodsuckers really come from? Let's start with the basics. The word vampire itself comes from the Slavic vampire, which found its way into English in the early 18th century. But the myth? Oh, it's much older than that. Ancient civilizations like the Mesopotamians, Hebrews, and Greeks had their own blood-drinking demons and spirits. The Greeks, for example, had the lamia, a monster that fed on children. These stories evolved and spread, giving rise to the vampire legends we know today. Now let's talk about the medieval period. This is where things get really interesting. During the Middle Ages, Europe was a hotbed for vampire lore. People were terrified of the undead, and mass hysteria swept across villages. Grave robbing wasn't just about treasure, it was about stopping the dead from rising. In Eastern Europe, the vampire phenomenon reached its peak. The infamous Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula, played a huge role. Though he wasn't a vampire, his brutal methods and eerie persona inspired Bram Stoker's iconic Dracula novel. But let's not forget about the real science behind these myths. Diseases like porphyria, which causes sensitivity to sunlight, and rabies, which can lead to biting, might have contributed to vampire legends. Imagine living in a time with no medical knowledge, where any strange illness could be seen as supernatural. Fast forward to the 18th century, and you've got the vampire panic in New England. People exhumed bodies, believing they were the cause of mysterious diseases. It sounds crazy now, but back then it was deadly serious, man. Today, vampires are more popular than ever, thanks to books, movies, and TV shows. Whether it's the tragic romance of Twilight or the brutal horror of 30 Days of Night, vampires continue to captivate us. So where do vampires really come from? They're born from our deepest fears and our fascination with the unknown. They remind us of the thin line between life and death, making us question what's lurking in the shadows. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, always keep a clove of garlic handy. You never know when you might need it.